Today we are going to be talking about the most difficult lesson that I have learned so far about being a pastor's wife. Happy Worship Wednesday, you guys. This is where I'm going to be talking about faith and talking about our journey to my husband becoming a pastor. Right now he's currently what I'm calling a pastor in training. He is taking classes and lessons and private tutoring, I guess, and he is learning to become a pastor. In the meantime, I've had some people come alongside me and teach me basically what it's like to be a pastor's wife. And there's some things I've had to learn along the way so far, and I kind of want to just record this journey. I wish I had pulled the camera out more beginning of this journey to kind of leading up to even where we are now. And the beginning of the journey probably started in April and right before we left for Disney, and then it's led up to where we are now, and it's September. So a lot has happened, but today I want to talk about the number one thing, and I'm going to be folding laundry while I talk and going ahead and starting to strip pillows and getting bedding ready to go to the laundry. And that brings me to what today's topic is. It's flexibility. The number one thing that I had to learn immediately as a pastor's wife in training is ministry life requires flexibility. There aren't clock in and clock out hours when it comes to real life. And I'm going to take a little bit of influence from our worship pastor's wife, who is also an author. And I'm just going to kind of bring up things I've learned through this past week and how that applies and how we handled it. And I kind of want to just, like I said, journal it, share it for like future me to go back and remember. I want to share it for like other people who are experiencing them. My husband just got called to be a preacher or a pastor, an evangelist or a missionary. What does that look like for me now? Because the reality is, when your husband gets called, that means your whole family gets called to a life of ministry. There's things where your family is going to be jumping in and doing things. And there's times where you're going to have to change your schedule at last minute. So let's look at this past week as an example and go from there. So this past week, we have started being at the church all day on Thursdays. One of the reasons that we go on Thursdays is to minister to a specific family who has a need in our church right now. The other reason that we go is we are in the process of doing some different rooms in our church, some rooms that weren't being used that we can utilize for some different ministries. One of them being we're working on setting up a mom's room, which is a room where nursing or pumping moms can go in privacy and take care of their nursing or pumping needs. But also the room will double as for moms whose kids or whose babies, let me specify babies, just won't go to nursery. I mean, you know, some of you moms know what I'm talking about. Your child, no matter what, no matter how sweet the people are, no matter how awesome the room is, how well designed it is, your child just has this fear of being in nursery. And so that room is for those moms. You're going to be able to stream live stream the service from the room, but also sit in a room that feels like home. And that's kind of my goal, is I want this room to feel like home. So our permanent room was not ready when one of our moms recently had a baby. And we said, you know, in the US, you're not supposed to have, or daycares cannot take children under 6 months. Churches get away with about 3 months. But during that time span, we wanted somewhere for them to go. So we started setting up this mom room. Well, our permanent room ended up needing a lot of work. The room just basically needed redone. Paint, ceiling, wall, or floors. The walls were fine. Paint, ceiling, floors. We're having to set up the individual bays where there will be nursing stations with like curtain off privacy areas. There's just a lot going into it that it wasn't ready when that mom just recently had a baby. So like we've been going and helping with like cleaning, doing some light decorating, and just being there at the church, taking care of like nursery paperwork. Because before my husband became called to be a pastor, I was asked to take on the nursery director position for our church, which also means that now I'm overseeing updating this nursery to 2025 standards, and just taking care of little things like that. Got all that going on Thursdays, which means that now a day that I either would take the kids out for like field trips or would go and visit family, which family, their schedule became unavailable on Thursdays anyways. Days that we would do that, now we're at church all day, but I kind of like it because now it's like I focus on just church while I'm at church, and then I can focus a little more at home. So there was flexibility thing that I learned. Number one was it's okay to make it to where you have days where you just focus on just church, and then you have days where you just focus on just family. So let's fast forward to yesterday. So I'm actually filming this on Tuesday. I'll upload on Wednesday though. Just reality, there's no way I can film these on Wednesday and edit and upload before our preferred 9 a.m. upload schedule. But we had a funeral, and we found out about the funeral on Friday. So that gave me the weekend to plan. Well, Mondays are my days where I absolutely love just staying home and doing our movie Monday, having snacks with the kids, and getting the house tidied back up from the weekend. Getting all the dishes caught up, all the baking dishes caught up from usually our baking Saturdays if we do that, which we did recently. It's a day to just get the house completely tidy back up after a busy weekend. But with a funeral on a Monday night, that meant I was not going to have all day to clean. I had to take a break to get ready to leave the house at dinner time, which also meant that even though I had moved our breakfast food night to Monday nights, funeral night, there's no way that's going to happen where I'm making made from scratch breakfast. So last night, my one who was helping me run nursery for the funeral, because the funeral was for a person who had great-grandchildren who were like under 3, several great-grandchildren who were under 4 years old. There were several, which meant that just offering nursery was just the best thing that the best way that our family could minister to that family at this time. And prayers for his widow, because that was hard. But where was I? So flexibility. So my youngest is nursery certified, which means that she's cleared to be in nursery with me, which our whole family has done the whole background check for like when we need to do kids activities at church. But there are what we call nursery certified at our church, which means they have name tag, they have been trained to work in nursery, they know how to handle nursery, they know how to handle the nursery protocols with safety and safety procedures and all that. So I took the one that was here because my young adults are also off house sitting, which also meant being flexible with while they're house sitting, and while we only have one car, which means our young adults don't have a car yet, they're saving up for one. That also meant flexibility of being able to drive to and from where they are, but they weren't going to be able to come and help us. The air conditioner just kicked on. There was a lot of flexibility in there of like, I wasn't going to have our just at home Monday, and I wasn't going to be able to just sit down. I wasn't going to be able to schedule like my personal study time. I have a personal project that I'm working on. It's time for my husband to be able to study for like taking over a Sunday school class while one of the teachers is out from surgery, to be able to prepare sermons for the nursing home ministry that we are currently doing. There's a second nursing home that's fixing to also open, where he will be the main person from our church preaching those. So like a lot of things, and I've had to learn because I was raised mostly by a grandparents, where one of them was a former drill sergeant. I was used to like being raised with like, you know, we do this when we're told to, and we do this. And I also, my limited time with one of my parents, they were OCD, and like everything had to be done a specific way, and there was no like, if things changed, you didn't do it, you know, that time. There was a lot of like little things that I've had to adjust to, of like being flexible. I'm gonna have to learn that it's okay to not have a perfect food schedule, and it's okay to not have like perfectly made plans. There was a time recently where I had one of the things that I'll talk about this in another video, but one of the things I tried doing was intentional planning time with our girls, even our young adults, our teens. Tried to intentionally plan time with them, and our young adults still live at home. It's just this week they are house sitting overnight, which is their first adventure doing that, like without me. I've been training them to do this, and we've been doing it for years, but now they're doing it on their own this week. There's still a couple times we've had to drive stuff over there, but right now they're living at home. So I try to plan intentional time for like when they're at home, and I'm trying to be flexible for like when they have jobs to do, and find some things that they can also do on the days where they're at home to earn money. I've had to learn the hard way to be more flexible and to be able to say, this is not going to happen today. Like, I can't do this thing I want to do today. It's just not going to happen. So some tips on learn to being more flexible as a pastor's wife. I'll end with that because I'm almost done, and I honestly only had enough time to fold this laundry while talking today. Again, there's that. So ways I've learned to be flexible is, number one, like with my YouTube schedule, I've learned that it's okay to combine things together. Like, it's okay to edit videos while one of my young adults who finished all the way through statistics, which both my young adults did, but one of them like was AP into math. She volunteered to take on tutoring the two that were doing Algebra 2, because their Algebra 2 course is way different from the one that Matt and I took when we were in high school 20-something years ago. So she's volunteered to do that, and she's really, really good at tutoring. She really is. So I've also given it to her for practice for a job, because she's thinking of doing like, not like teaching, but she likes doing the tutoring thing, that one-on-one ratio with students. So she's taken that on. So flexibility number one is be flexible with your work schedule and with your homeschool schedule if you have the option to do that. For me, for work schedule, it means I film in the mornings and I edit in the mornings, and then that way in the afternoons I can still do the afternoon classes with the girls. Like today, we have U.S. history. So I'm filming right now. I'm going to edit and upload before breakfast. And then this afternoon we can watch the U.S. history videos together. And then tonight we will have time to watch a movie together, like a fun movie together. Flexibility number two, as far as it goes for the meal schedule. I had seen, and I've read so much, you guys, I can't remember every single person I've read about, okay? One tip suggestion for meal planning for pastors' families is don't plan meals on Sundays that you can't just like not eat. So what that means for us is during the summer, we did sandwiches. That way, like if we ended up at church all day or at church longer, there was one day we weren't planning on it, and somehow we were there till like 4 o'clock, and we weren't planning on being there that long. There were just some things that came up we needed to discuss and work with and help people out with. And so we were there till 4 o'clock, which meant that like if we had had food in a crock pot that just had to be done as soon as we got home from church, it probably would have went bad. So we switched to sandwiches over the winter. We are going to switch to some crock pot meals, but another thing that we've had to let go of is when we were in a legalist church 5 years ago, they used to teach you don't eat out on Sundays. It is totally against God's will to eat out on Sundays. And I still struggle with that because I don't really want to make somebody work on Sunday, but also I've accepted that some people are going to work on Sunday no matter what, and I can't be responsible for the decisions that other people make. And also I feel like we live in an area where if somebody just really says, I'm not going to work today because I want to go to church, they're not going to make them, because the laws in this specific area of East Tennessee, they would have so much legal battle and news coverage and all that. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So like for us, sometimes we do. We'll go to a grocery store and pick some stuff up, or we'll go to like fast food, or we will go to like a sit down restaurant and eat, because like that's what we need to do. Like we did eat out this past Sunday because we had our 2 young adults we picked up for church, and then we had to take them back to the house they were house sitting at after we ate out. And they needed something to be able to eat in between as well. And we didn't want them to have to like come back. And then they're also dog sitting while they're house sitting and take care of that dog. And then figure out food while everybody's tired from being up early so that we could get everybody to and from church. Because we had to pick them up on our way, which means when we had to leave early, they had to leave early. So we've had to learn with that, like being flexible with the food budget. And then like last night, we ended up doing sandwiches instead, because the sandwiches I had planned for Sunday we ended up eating out. So then Monday we had sandwich supplies. So the one that went to the funeral with me to run the nursery, we had sandwiches. And then the two that were here, one of them she's my lactose free one. She's been making her own meal plans because she wants to be a chef when she grows up. So, well, not grows. She's, in my mind, she's already grown up. But like when she becomes adultier, she wants to be a chef. So she made her own food, and I'm kind of just like letting her buy her own supplies and make her own food. And then my husband could have been a chef. Now we know that God had other plans for him, but he made himself chicken quesadillas while I was gone, and he's okay with that. He's okay with, we had this come up, we need to do this thing. And the other thing about last night was, we were deep cleaning the kitchen last night, and I ended up not wanting to do it, but the drip pans like underneath the burners on the stove just had to be soaked. It was just that time where they needed to soak. They were soaking when I left. He was perfectly fine with getting it out, rinsing it off, and putting it. And like, I know, let's not even get into that whole man-woman roles thing. Just hear me out. I didn't want to be that burden to him if he just got off work. He's got sermons to look at. He's got one here with them because she was still finishing her literature report whenever I left last night, willingly. She wanted to. She did a really awesome report. Just a lot of flexibility of learning, like, there was things that had to be done, and we just kind of learned to go with it. So this is a challenge for me. I love my plans. I love having plans. And that's my last tip for you guys with flexibility. Also, I'm talking about plans. I have a planner. It's written in pencil. Don't put anything in ink. Put it in pencil. And when you do those plans, put the church calendar here, your planner here. Make sure you copy it over. But also do it in pencil. Leave room for things to change. Like today, I'm planning on being home all day, but if something happens tonight, then it's okay. I'll be able to be flexible and move things around. But that's it for today's video, you guys. Like I said today, flexibility. Like, I needed to fold laundry. I needed to get laundry folded and start stripping the bed off to get the bedding washed today, because it has to be taken care of today. But I also needed to do a video to talk to you guys about my journey into becoming a pastor's wife and learning to be a pastor's wife. So I really hope you guys enjoy this series of videos of just me talking and being honest and real with you guys and raw and talking about these things. Because like I said, I kind of want to keep this as almost like a video journal for myself, but also for other moms or other wives. Let's just say wives, because some women aren't moms, but their wives have been called to pastor it, or their husbands have been called to pastor it. It's a challenge, and at first it's kind of scary, and honestly, this past week, it's been scary that he's been called to be a pastor because there's just so much sometimes there's that fear there, but God is bigger than all of our fears, and he is there for us, and he has provided for us so far. We've not had to miss a single meal. We've not had to worry about, we've had some concerns about financial, but God's been there the whole way, and he's taking care of us. And do we know what's going to eventually happen? Like, where will he end up being a pastor? No, but that's okay, because we know that right now where we are is where God wants us to be. And he's shown us things, and he's told us things that we know where we're supposed to be, or we are where we're supposed to be in training right now for him to be a pastor. But I'm learning as well, and so are my girls, and this is a really awesome journey that we're on. So I will end today's video with 4 thoughts for you guys. Number 1, Jesus loves you. If nobody else has told you that today or ever in your entire life, Jesus truly does love you. Number 2, thank you to all of our members for supporting this content and allowing us to continue making videos, because if you guys didn't support us, we could not afford to be able to have the channel. There's a certain minimum amount we have to earn each year, or we cannot afford to keep our channel going. So thank you to members for being a part of that. And for those of you that are like, I can't afford to pay for anything, liking, watching, positive comments, subscribing, not clicking off of the ads and skipping the ads unless they're inappropriate. If they're inappropriate ads, skip them. If they're inappropriate, this is my giving you permission, skip them. But doing that only costs you time. And I know time and money balance, but like sometimes there's time things. But like, if you have the time, that still helps us. And also, if we're helping you, then the money doesn't matter. I'm just saying, for like, those things do help us. If not, it's fine. The last thing I want to tell you guys is we hope to see every single one of you next time, and thank you.